Hello basketball coaches and basketball players, my name is Alan from Al's Basketball Training, and today I'm going to give you some fantastic motion basketball plays that you can run against a 1-3-1 zone defense. So hello everyone, my name is Alan from Al's Basketball Training. On this channel I show you basketball plays, drills, and skills. So if you like that stuff, hit that like button and subscribe. But anyways, today I'm giving you some fantastic motion basketball plays that you can run against the 1-3-1. Let's get down to the clipboard. I'm going to run over a quick weakness area of the 1-3-1, and then I'm going to show you some plays. And I hope that you really do enjoy these plays. And if you want a really great defense, go check out my Unbeatable basketball defense book. It's in the description below, but anyways, let's get down to the clipboard. Okay, so we have the 1-3-1, and inherently the weak spots are these low corners. Even though these wing players are guarding most of the time like this, obviously it depends on the coach, but generally speaking, these are the zones that are being played. Inherently, if there's two players on each side, these areas are very weak in the defense, which should get you a lot of easy shots. Now, a very simple and quick offense that you can run against the 1-3-1 is the pass and cut. Now, when he's cutting towards the rim, obviously that's going to bring player 4 out and player 5 out. That's going to bring player 3 in because now he is defending, obviously, the skip pass to player 2, but also defending against the weak side lob to player 3. So he's going to be playing a bit lower. However, this is leaving player 5 wide open, especially if he's a really great shooter. He can take that wide open shot. Now, if that brings out player 5, which it shouldn't, but if he makes a mistake, that's going to leave player 1 wide open driving towards the rim. Or what could happen is player 4 could pass to player 1, which would then collapse the defense. And when that happens, that could allow player 4 and 5 both to be open, or player 3 could be cutting baseline and he could be open for the lob or for the bounce pass so he could get that layup or dunk or whatever he gets to do. So this is a great offense. Now, let's say this doesn't go through. What's going to happen is player 1 is going to come over to guard player 4 because the whole top is technically player 1's zone. We're then going to have player 2 move down so that he's in deny against player 5. That's going to bring player 3 up. Player 4 is guarding the high post and player 5 is guarding the key. And player 2 is going to be popping up and player 3 is going to be popping up as well. And player 1 is going to be going out to the opposite side. Now, if the zone defense is making the mistake and coming too far over to this side, now we have player 1 who's open back door. But most of the time they should be staying pretty well at home. Now, player 4 can make a decision. He can pass over to player 2 and cut towards the rim. Or what he can do is pass to player 5. So let's say player 2's rotation wasn't fast enough to player 5, but he was able to recover before player 5 was able to take that shot. Now player 4 is going to be cutting down the middle of the key, or not the middle of the key, but the right side of the key. And if he is open for that pass, he could get that layup. He could draw the defense, again, backdoor, multiple different options here. But let's say he didn't have the opportunity. That's going to bring player 2 over. Player 3 is going to come over. Player 1 is going to come over. Now what's going to happen is player 5 is going to pop or pass up, and he's going to cut towards the rim. Now that's going to bring player 2 down, and one of two things could happen. He could go and start posting up player 2, which would then possibly bring a double team in the low post. And if that's the case, again, player 4 cutting back door. Always check the back door, especially if you're against the 1-3-1 and you're really focusing on one side of the court. Let's go over to another offense now, a different motion offense, so that I can show you how you can destroy that 1-3-1 zone defense. Now, what you can run is what I like to call is a super overload offense. And what you're going to do is have player 1 pass over to player 3. And what that's going to do is then pull player 1 and he's going to cut down towards that low corner, very similar to the triangle offense, which could allow him to be open in that low corner. However, that's going to bring player 3 over and player 1 over. And now what we're going to have is one of two things. There's two different ways of running this offense. We can have these players going in that kind of formation, or they could be skipping over the corners. So how we can run it is player 5 goes to the high post, which would then have him showing, and player 4 would then be going over to this side, which would then be allowing player 5 to possibly drive towards the rim, draw player 5 for the easy layup there. Or player 4 could stay in that low post, get the pass down, draw player 3 in, have player 1 open. Of course, that's an option, but generally speaking, we want these guys to be on opposite sides of the court. So if they were to then cut down and switch, player 5 could get prime post position on player 5. He could get that ball in that low post, which would then, if player 4 blue was to cut down, he could get the nice easy pass over to him possibly for that layup. So there's a few different options here. Now, let's say none of those options are open. We can swing the ball. So that's going to allow player 3 to pass the ball over to player 2. That's going to bring the defense back up towards the top. We're then going to have player 1 use player 5 and 4 as a screen, and player 1 is going to be popping up towards the free throw line extended. Player 2 is going to pass to player 1. He's going to cut down towards that low corner, and now these guys are in the low post. If they haven't totally switched over yet, then we could have player 2 open for that low corner. He could pass to player 4, which would then be a possible pass to player 5. There's a few different options that are happening here. Now I'm going to show you my own personal motion that I run with every single team because it does so well against a ton of different zones. And this is what I call the triangle motion offense. I've showed this in a few prior videos years ago, but if you haven't seen it, this works really well against the 1-3-1. We're going to have player 1 pass to player 3. Player 1 is going to cut down towards that low corner. Of course, he could be open for that shot. If he is, definitely hit him up. But what's going to happen now is that defense is going to then shift over just like this. And now what we're going to have is possibly player 5 being open in the low post, a backdoor cut from player 2. There's a few different options here. However, let's say player 3 can't have a pass anywhere. There's nobody open. Player 4 is going to move up towards the top. We're going to have player 4 receive the pass from player 3. Of course, this could be a quick skip pass over to player 2 for the three-point shot. Of course, that is an option. However, what we're going to have is now player 1 or player 3, one or the other, is now going to go whoever's taller personally. That's how I would personally play it, is whoever is taller of these two players is going to use player 5 as a screen, and he's going to go down towards that low post. We're then going to have, in this case, player 1 move up towards the top and player 5 move out. We're going to have player 4 pass over to player 2. We're going to shift this zone defense back over, and player 4 is going to go down towards that low post. And now that should shift that zone defense like that. However, if the passes are fast and crisp, there's going to be multiple players open who could be taking the reverse passes. Now, I hope that those 3 basketball motion offenses help you against the 1-3-1. These are very basic because I know a lot of teams will use these other than that last triangle motion. Will use these anyways. So if they're already in your kind of playbook, you're going to be able to run these anyways and explain to your players now what they need to do to get those open shots against the 1-3-1. I hope that you have enjoyed. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time, actually tomorrow, in another daily basketball video.